your permission for me to record this meeting. Okay. All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. And I am sort of obliged to keep an eye on the email for Les Hamasaki because I talked to him yesterday. He's our senior board member. And normally, Ruben, do you remember Les joining us on a Google Meet before?
Yeah, I do actually. Do you want me to send him the link separately in another email just in case?
Please,
I can do that.
Please do. Please do.
Let me do that. One second.
Okay.
1 second.
Okay. All right. And does everybody have another 53 minutes to hang in on the call?
Yep.
I have plenty.
Okay. Beautiful. 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 And then we'll go around and do quick introductions. I'm trying to think who else. Yeah, but there's probably just 2 more people that I'm expecting to log in for this meeting. And this is really one of the major purposes of the meeting is for us to see each other's face. So we know it's so we know this is not a wild James Davis scheme. Yeah. Before we got started, we were talking about Zodi and I. And Zodi, how do you pronounce your last name?
Zuriel.
Zoriel. Okay.
Zuriel.
Zoriel. We were talking, Zodi's originally from Ethiopia, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And very accomplished professional. And we were talking, she was drinking some Ethiopian coffee. Matter of fact, can you show us that coffee pot again, Zodi?
Sure. This is how you make the coffee.
Okay.
And then you remember I did research, and I think I sent you my coffee research. Nowadays, the coffee that we drink out in the street, they may not be as we expect them to be like 10, 15 years ago. There's so many things additive, but the additives is not really bad for health, but it's not like pure coffee.
Okay.
So, and then a coffee also, it can develop acid. By the way, Dr. Amin called acid social drug. He calls it social drug because it has acid. That acid is not really good for our joints.
Okay.
But because we got used to it, that like 15 minutes of euphoria, we got used to that. We never stop it. Otherwise, not 100% healthy for us. But if you get the organic coffee and then roast it the way it's supposed to be, the acid will reduce by 60%. Still there is acid. It depends what region it comes, okay?
Okay.
So then when we less acid, more healthier, and we can get the caffeine that we need from coffee. So I will show you another time, different time, the research I did. But the last thing is after we roast the coffee, the way it was supposed to be, we make it with the clay. And the clay doesn't have any lead, by the way. Most clays, they have lead. Lead is not good for our health. So the Ethiopian pot, they don't have lead. I don't know how they did it. They're not educated. They don't know about lead, but it doesn't have lead, by the way. I checked it because I'm health inspector. So that's what I'm sorry I took so much time.
That's fascinating because all of us have keen interest in health, both from a professional as well as a business perspective. And Zodi has a book called Emotional Shock, where she chronicles her story of healing herself from cancer. So hold on, this is Les Hamasaki calling me, so I'm gonna mute myself for just a minute. No, I'm not gonna mute myself. Yes, sir, Les.
can't get in. Can I just listen to the discussion?
Okay. Good. Because Ruben tried to send you a link.
Yeah, he can check his link in his email. I sent it.
Okay, Les, can you check your email? Because Ruben sent you a link that should allow you to access our meeting.
Okay. On the email from Ruben?
Ruben. Mm-hmm.
I'll look at it.
Go.
Thank you.
Okay. Keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell you what, why don't you check your email and see if you can access the meeting video, and then if you can't, call back on your phone and you can listen. Okay? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. That's Les. He's our elder of the group. He's 86 years young. I talked to him yesterday for 45 minutes.
Wow.
Les Hamasaki used to be a planner for the city of Los Angeles. He was on the planning commission. He was on the airport commission. Born in Hawaii, came to the United States. The man's traveled the world doing planning and development work. He's like older version of Nirupan Balacharan. And the reason why I mention him is we have so much depth on this board, and everybody's bringing their own life experience of community enlightenment, working together to create community, traveling the world. I'm the least traveled person amongst the folks on the line right now. All of those experiences and values and intentions together, we can do some powerful things. So I'm sort of setting the table to say thank you for showing up today. And it's really an awesome opportunity. Kiana Baradaran, who was born in Tehran, Iran, she's another one of our superstars. She emailed me about 10 minutes ago and said, unfortunately, she couldn't make it. She was planning on making it. But she's one of the people like yourself who's got international experience, highly technical, and definitely energized about the need to bring enlightenment to community development. So I'm kind of giving you a little background. Okay, note taker. So it's 14, it's almost a quarter after the hour. So I kind of feel like we should maybe get going. Y'all ready to get started?
Cool.
Okay. So the purpose of this meeting is for me to hear from you all in terms of how do we reset the organization and set up a framework where you're providing more counsel and direction to me as the founder, and I'm doing more listening rather than doing most of the talking. Ruben and I have talked about this. Okay, this is Les calling me back, so I guess he couldn't get in. Yes, sir.
I don't think I can make it.
You can't make it? Okay, let me see if you can. Okay. Well, you can either listen or I can send you, I'm taking notes. There'll be video notes of the meeting. So do you want to just review the notes and we'll practice this before the next meeting? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can listen to you. Just talk, you know.
Okay. So I'll set my cell phone next to my laptop here and you can hear me. Okay. All right, so Les is here via the cell phone. He's listening. So we'll welcome Les as if he was joining us on the video call. So Nuruben, would you be willing to share some of the discussions that we've had over the last few months in terms of leadership, because that's one of your fortes, organizational leadership, and some of the suggestions that you've made to me? Do you feel comfortable sharing some of those ideas?
Sure, James, and feel free to remind me if I omit anything or forget anything. You know,
Okay.
first of all, James, I hope you and the community are okay over there in Central Florida. The damage from the hurricane's just, terrible. And it's yep, you doing okay? Okay, that's great.
Yeah. Thank you for asking. Yeah, God bless me again.
Yes, indeed, absolutely. And what I've always liked about the concept of leadership and community enlightenment is, when you and I first were talking about this, like what, more than 15, 20 years ago now, when I think about it, how we met, James, like you mentioned, it was all about how individuals who are part of community assume responsibility for their own communities as citizens. And I think we all have a role to play in bringing about community enlightenment, no matter what our sort of position or standing in societies might be. And I've always been so attracted to that vision that you've brought about and that you always explain so well, James. I think broadly, that's something that I think the world needs a lot more of, especially in the 2020s, with a lot of different challenges that we're dealing with across communities and globally, including out here in Asia. But also, I think specifically what you and I have talked about over the last maybe year or so are, kind of how do we bring together the worlds of good economics, compassion in societies, and the spiritual aspects of individuals to create these better communities. And they can be in the form of, working at the intersection of education and trust funds, or improving how universities interact with communities in a town and gown way. Like you and I have discussed a couple different projects and different opportunities and how we can bring, sort of compassionate capital to communities. And I think all that is entirely possible, especially, you've lived through it the last week or so, like in post-disaster, post-challenge situations as well. So I think those are some of the things that you've and I've talked about. Am I forgetting anything, James?
No.
That you think that maybe we should bring up?
No, and you're hitting the nail right on the head, because the number 2 item on the agenda was revisit the relevance of community enlightenment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's, you hitting the nail right on the head. Let me thank you, Nuruben. Zodi.
Sure.
Mhm.
Why would you give us your take and share a little bit about yourself with the rest of the board members, but also would you share how you see the community enlightenment relevance to your experience?
Oh my goodness, there's so many things that we could be on the front page for enlightenment. Right now, the world is going to be enlightened the next few years. We know that it's going there. So we need to be add light to it. So in terms of education, in terms of providing service, those needs service. And in terms of, in so many ways right now, as especially when you're coming about affordable homes and affordable places, nationwide, there's so much shortage for low income folks. It's very hard. So if we provide there, we can bring enlightenment and in some way. When it comes to education, mine is not from the university. I like to start from the kindergarten, providing whatever they needed, and we can bring enlightenment from there. And whatever you're doing, I think it's a perfect way right now because the world is being enlightened, and I'm very much into that.
Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Mr. William Berry, what's your
Yes.
take on the relevance of community enlightenment from your perspective?
Okay, my perspective is somewhat limited, but first of all, my name is William Berry. I am, he was talked about people traveling. My experience was through Uncle Sam. I was in the Air Force, flew C-130s. So that's my view of the world. I really haven't experienced a lot of places, but that's how I got around. But after a short stay in the Air Force, I taught school for 30 years. So that's my forte, education. And when I first joined James many years ago, I can't remember how long, it's been a long time. We had a focus of, I remember we were trying to get this armory building because we wanted to, and we worked on it and we did things in the neighborhood to try to clean things up. And we were trying to get people with assets to help us get this building so we could, and this was in Compton, California. So we were gonna set up a training facility there. You know, my part of it was I was gonna tutor kids in math and, you know, my strength areas. We wanted to teach people how to grow vegetables, right? And then James's area was construction. So I guess we were trying to put together our own little educational spot. And so a lot of the work was physical, and we went around having meetings and trying to talk to people and stuff and get money together. But that was many years ago, and unfortunately, it didn't work out for us. But James has moved on and moved to another, you know, across the country, amongst other places. And I guess my thing is, I don't really know exactly what's going on right now. I know, you know, NICE is in the education and community with enlightenment, like the name says. But so in that regards, I really don't know what to ask or how I fit in this, except that, you know, I've always had James's back because I know he's trying to do some great things. And it's just that our problem, in my opinion, has always been financing. You know, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. Good historical overview. I appreciate it. You hit the nail right on the head. And by the way, just for information, that site that William talked about, it was a closed armory, it's back up for sale.
Oh, it is.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that opportunity is, I'm still monitoring how the time that William busted his behind on that project. I mean, from everything from working in the yard and to going and just anything I asked William to do, he was there early, stayed late. So yeah, we invested a lot of sweat equity on that site. And I believe that we can use that energy effort. Technically, it's called a best practice. We developed some best practices for Compton, and although the outcome isn't what we had planned, the story's not over yet. And so I just want to, but what I heard from William is there's a need for all the board members to know what the roadmap is, what the strategy is. And my thinking is it's more powerful when that strategy is coming from everybody rather than James Davis being the one that's articulating it. Are you still there, Les? Okay, Les Hamasaki might have hung up. I spoke to Les yesterday. He's still in the game. He lives in Monterey Park, which is directly east of downtown Los Angeles, and he's doing some an autobiography of his life, which a big portion of it includes being an administrator and working alongside Mayor Tom Bradley, who was the first African-American mayor of Los Angeles, and check this out, was mayor for 20 years. Just unbelievable story of multiculturalism. And what Les shared with me yesterday, he was saying multiculturalism, and I'm quoting him. He said, multiculturalism is the strength of the United States, and NICE has diversity on its board. And that's just one of the pieces that Les is a living example of. The number 2 item on the sort of kind of agenda was to agree on a time of regular meetings. And by the way, what I'm going to do is take the notes from this meeting, synthesize it, and then get everybody's who's a board member's input on what we discussed, the relevance of NICE. And I believe that there's money out there for us to have resources for the board of directors. I mean, it's legal for board of directors to get stipends, to get paid for their time in the capacity of a board member, and some other perks that you deserve. And that comes under budget. And that's what we can start to discuss once we have a time for a regular board meeting, so folks can clear that in their calendar. Now, just that suggestion right there, having a regular board meeting. Does anybody, would everybody agree that that would be an asset for us to start right there with a regular board meeting?
Yeah.
It works for me. Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's is Saturday, is this time on a Saturday the best time, or should we try to go for a weeknight? What do you all think?
It's good for me.
Okay. Can we used to try to go the second Saturday of every month, and I'm sure we can have meetings that are 60 minutes or less, because when we're working together and kind of communicating during the month via emails and just have some capacity. Like, one piece of strategy for board members is having a surrogate. Let's say that Narubin's going to be traveling to a different part of the world, and he knows a board meeting is coming up. He could have is surrogate the right word, Narubin, where you have a person representing you in your absence?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay,
yeah,
surrogate
is probably good. Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. Yeah, we could set that up where there's resources where no one person is pulling it by themselves, and they're also, and NICE provides the structure like with Les Hamasaki, he's writing his autobiography that includes economic development, political advancement, using enlightenment as one of the tools to bring people together. You know, NICE should be able to get him some resources in terms of a student, a note taker, somebody that can take transcripts of Les Hamasaki describing the different pieces of the economic development of LA County and make that part of his history and part of the resources that NICE is bringing to the table. So that's what I'm thinking about in terms of us having capacity. So it sounds like we've agreed for monthly board meetings this time, the second Saturday of the month. Okay.
And we may want to poll the rest of the board members on email, James, just in case. I'm okay with that time and so forth. But if we need to check with the other folks, maybe they can weigh in on email too.
Very important. So get their agreement is what you're saying. Because if they say they can't make it, then that's not going to be a functional plan. Okay. But for right now, why don't we schedule for the second Saturday of next month, which is the 9th of November, at this time. And I promise by the time that or a week ahead of time, that you'll have an update showing a more detailed outline on where NICE has come, the accomplishments of the past, a financial report. I can tell you right now that of the NICE checking account, there's $3,800 in the NICE checking account, and the last time we had last time I wrote a check for NICE was for a project, and that was in 2022, 2 years ago. So there hasn't really been any financial activity because there's not too much happening in terms of us moving forward. But we'll have detailed financial report prior to that next meeting. Let's see. So the last item, and if y'all have any questions on anything that I'm saying, just interrupt me right then and there. There's no need to be formal.
You know, President, I think the last time we talked, which is quite a while ago, there was something you were working on in Florida. Is that still going on? Some site or?
Yes, good question. In terms of projects, the last proposal I submitted in Florida was for the city of Daytona Beach, Florida, which is, I'm about a 30-minute drive from Daytona Beach, Florida. And it was for a community investment trust, which is like a bank for underserved communities. And it would help low-income residents of an underserved, low-income community invest in this community-like bank. It's called a community investment trust. And that would enable that entity to purchase small businesses, barbershops, markets, nail salons, hair salons. And it's a way for communities to self-finance economic development. That's the last proposal I submitted. One of the NICE board members helped me with that, and Ruben's been helping me with other financial tools that NICE could use. And I'll include that prior to our next meeting. And before I complete answering your question, William, I also have been keeping my eye peeled for what we did in Compton, because the need is still there in Compton. And I don't believe that just because I got my butt whooped in the past, that it's not necessary to re-engage. So there is, what we did still needs to be done. And also we did have a commitment from California. We had a commitment from some important people in California, and those folks didn't follow through. And there's some developments where we can, if the board of directors agree on this strategy, we can get some justice for our effort to bring some enlightenment to the city. Did I answer your question, sir?
Okay, yeah, I was really interested in that Florida project, see what was going on.
Yeah, well, okay, the correlation is everything that I view, every location that I see, and there, prior to me getting to this part of Florida, I was in a more central part of Florida, which is called the Villages. I was working on a youth empowerment project that includes the Smithsonian Institution. Everything that I'm bringing to the table where NICE can benefit is transferable. So what I am working on here in Florida, I'm seeing those practices being monetized in Compton and LA County. Because it's just, we put in too much work for it to be thrown away.
Compton.
Yeah, that's where I was raised from 5 till 2011. I was in and out of Compton, and it's an area where there's opportunity for the strategies of enlightenment to be monetized, and there's a lot of resources that are available to make it happen. And if the board says, yeah, James, that's good, but we've invested enough time, let's move to greener pastures, I'm good with that too. I'm getting humbled in my old age.
All right, quick question here, James.
Yes, ma'am.
What specifically in Compton? Like Compton, I work for LA County. Now I'm doing building inspections. So most Compton area is unincorporated for LA County. They have never been inspected, all the buildings and then one unit and up, all rented unit never been inspected. Now they're gonna be inspected from next year. So I'm gonna be in that area most of the time. So what exactly specific thing we and Anise is gonna do? Like we have issue in Los Angeles City now is deteriorated. Most retail stores are leaving. And then forget about Walmart. The Walmart is leaving. People who live in the city now, they have to drive far to get access to retail stores. The reason why they're leaving is because the theft is so high. And if someone is still less than $900 or not $1,000, they can walk away with whatever they want. So because of that, all retails are closing, and the low income community people don't have any access all that. So I'm just curious about what is specifically that what's in your mind to do for Compton.
How about if we set aside a time to discuss that? And I'd like to get Les Hamasaki in on that discussion, and I'm gonna invite William to get in on that discussion. And I can send you some information as soon as the meeting is over, but I could talk for the next hour on the specifics. But I'm glad you mentioned that you're in the area actually doing work, and the issue that you bring up is exactly what that trust is talking about, providing dollars for local residents to be entrepreneurs to provide services and products.
Yeah.
So I'll send you some information today, and we could talk about it later today or tomorrow, because it's a rich opportunity, and it also includes creating businesses that's based on culture. You were talking about the Ethiopian coffee, and to be able to create new cottage small business opportunities for business folks of color in underserved communities. That's a huge opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll get you the information, and then we'll set up a time.
That's my research that I did. You know that. I emailed you. Did I email you?
No, I don't remember it, but get it to me. We'll make you the leader of that committee, because you're the professional. You're our resident expert for economic development opportunities in Compton. And Ruben has experience being a fund development professional. Ruben, what I'm suggesting right now with Zodi, do you think that setting up a little focus group committee to explore the opportunities based on what we view as possibilities, do you think that's a good approach?
That'd be great, especially since maybe James, like you have some ideas about which areas of opportunity, including specific geographic areas, could be priorities for NICE. So definitely, that's perfectly fine by me.
Okay. Priority areas. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. As a matter of fact, that's the last. Ruben, you're cheating. You're going ahead on the agenda. Just kidding. So item number 4 is register your concerns and suggestions as to what should be the organizational priority. James Davis, has ideas. However, I need to listen to you all first. So William is saying that, which is so true, there's a need to have some identification in terms of where NICE is working, what it's doing from a short-term lens. Zodi's brought up the fact that she's working in Compton, and she sees that economic development and opportunity is a need in the marketplace. Am I correct in your statement? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And the mission, the reason why NICE was incorporated 24 years ago was to engage in innovative economic enterprise, which includes housing development. And when the sentence innovative economic enterprise, that was code word to inject spirituality, inject compassion and integrity into business. So we can literally take that to the bank. So the last item in our last 14 minutes here is organizational priorities. What other items should we focus in on, and what other items should James Davis provide more information on in terms of a priority as we reset our organization? I see your pop-up, Nerubin. What does that mean?
Yeah, just raising my hand there.
Okay, yes, sir.
I guess you can do that on Google Meet. You just click on the hand button there.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep. Well, thanks, James. Well, first, I just want to share that, I think your original vision and your original experience when you were explaining to me back in Minnesota with that facility, and that was sort of the inspiration for a lot of your work that happened subsequently, and also influenced why you decided to create the institute, why you decided to create Nice. And although I don't have any very specific sort of geographical areas of we should work, for example, we should work in the Midwest, or we should work in this part of California or this part of Florida. What I do think is it may be a good opportunity, James, to take a second look at what Nice has historically been strong at, and if we could revisit that in the next couple of years. 2025, for example, is not too far away. Then we could leverage what we're strong at. And if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong. Some of the things that you've explained to me over the years that you've been really successful at is sort of post-disaster, and disaster resilience work. Also, a lot of sort of higher education work, town and gown. And also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, these ideas of this idea of community trust and similar sort of instruments. Those are what come to mind. But correct me if I'm wrong. If there's other areas of strength which you and the rest of the your top partners, including us board members, have been having some success at. For example, William mentioned this armory, which I'm very fascinated to hear more about, because it sounds like the type of facility that you have been quite good at bringing to life. But in general, yeah. So those are kind of my thoughts. But again, please, if there's any other areas of strength, then I'm all ears, and I'm really happy to be part of this organization, James, because again, even after so many years, there's not many players in this space who are kind of actively reflecting those values and bringing this vision to life. So I think that's all I have to say for now. Hopefully that helps answer your question, James.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Thank you. I'm taking notes besides the video recording. Any other thoughts in terms of priorities, organizational priorities, and also responding to that? There's a proposal that I'll send out to everybody today called a convergence center. And this Convergence Center is the Armory project with makeup on. It's the same concept of partnering with the state of California, FEMA, to create a project. It's a multi-purpose facility. I'll send that all to you. This is God at work, because basically we have the opportunity to use old parts to rebuild a new engine. And William, as a ex-automotive mechanic, should be
Right.
William had a 55 Chevy Black Beauty. Was that its name?
That's what I called it.
Yeah, that he put together that would be shining. So we all of us are community builders. That's what I'm saying. All of us in different ways. So, wow. Well, I'm excited. If any other thoughts, I don't.
How many board members are there?
There's a total of 9. For this meeting, we had Kiana, John Moore, they had indicated that they would be here. Les had indicated that they would be there. So I'd say that there's the 4 of us plus 3, we've got 7. We probably need more, but I'm thinking that for right now, we definitely would benefit from having our house in order, and that starts with me doing more listening and less talking. Any other thoughts? Or William, what else? Did you have any follow-up thoughts to your question about board membership?
No, I just wanted to make sure that, what do you call it? Quorum, or we had enough people to make decisions like that, or
Right.
But
Right.
I know Ruben already said that, you need to contact the other board members and make sure they're on board, as far as the meetings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that covers it, I guess. But that's my concern, that's all.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll let them know what was covered during the meeting, what the suggestion is, get their concurrence agreement on us meeting the second Saturday of the month on a monthly basis for short meetings. But I'm excited about what we already have on the table. And for example, Zodi and another one of the board members, John Moore, we talked about a big project in Las Vegas. And Zodi's a very successful property developer in different states. She does that in addition to her full-time job. Everybody on the line is our superstars. What I'm saying is that we have enough mojo right now to get this rehabbed engine set in a vehicle to be traveling at high speed safely. And as we build momentum, there'll be folks wanting to join the board. But for right now, I'm feeling good that we're creating momentum. I see momentum gathering right now. Well, if no one else has anything else, I will ask if there's a motion to adjourn this meeting.
See, I move that we adjourn the meeting until second Saturday at 10 o'clock next month.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Okay, and Ruben Reyes put that into it. Okay. All right. Well, we are adjourned. Thank you all, beautiful people, and I'll get you all a recording of the meeting, and for the information I promised everybody, I'll get it out ASAP.
Thank you so
Ruben?
much. Nice to see you guys.
Thank you guys. Nice to
Y'all
meet
take
you
care.
all. Stay safe, Jane.
Okay, we'll do.
Take
Take
care.
care. Bye-bye.
Mhm.
Bye.
Bye.